I want to start out by saying that I'm not a huge fan of The Gabbie Show, and if you had asked me about a year ago who I liked more, Ricegum or The Gabbie Show, I most likely would have said Ricegum. However, the more I find out about Ricegum, the less I like him. As you've probably heard by now, Ricegum and The Gabbie Show got into a altercation at a party. What happened was Gabbie saw Ricegum at a party and she challenged him to a rap battle on Snapchat, and he said that he wasn't interested. She said something like, well, I guess you don't have your ghostwriter around to help you, and she posted these snaps of him saying that, he's not interested, which made him angry. Apparently, what happened then was he took her phone and he smashed it to the ground, breaking it. What everybody seems to be missing about this is by taking somebody's property using force, Ricegum committed a robbery, because robbery is the taking of somebody's property using force or the threat of force. Everybody instead seems to be focusing on whether Ricegum committed assault, because the question is, did Ricegum hit Gabbie or not? Well, here's the thing about assault. Assault, even though it sounds like a bad crime, assault is not as bad of a crime as battery, because an assault is an attempted battery. Battery is generally when you hit somebody. However, battery is only a misdemeanor in the state of California unless the battery results in severe bodily injury. In this case, it does not look like Gabbie had any serious bodily injuries, so at most Ricegum would be guilty of misdemeanor battery. However, there is no such thing as misdemeanor robbery. Robbery is always a felony, and it's always considered a serious or violent felony under California law, and therefore it's considered a strike. Most felonies under California law are not strikes, like, for example, drug dealing is not a strike. But robbery is always a serious or violent felony. I'll explain more, but first, let's watch Gabbie's Snapchats on Ricegum.
Ricegum is here, and I know that I want to challenge him to a battle, but I know he won't do it, and it's Alex's birthday, so I don't want to ruin the party, you know what I mean? But honestly, if Ricegum ever wants to live freestyle battle, drop a beat right now, bitch, I'll murder you. Hey, Ricegum, I just challenged you to a live battle on Snapchat. Would you do it?
No.
Live rap battle. Why wouldn't you do it?
Nah, I don't want to do it.
Alright, so Rice doesn't have his ghostwriter today. It's fine. I think we can still battle. I think we're good. No? You don't want to do it? Okay, so update. Sorry if it looks like I'm crying. Ricegum didn't think that joke was very funny, and he hit me in the middle of a party and shattered my phone. I can show you that in a sec. I'm standing out on the balcony so that it doesn't make a scene, but he literally everybody's like, did he hit you? And I was like, yeah, he did. And my phone is broken, the screen is broken, the back camera is broken, so I need to get a new phone. Here's my pop socket in my hand that fell off when he shattered my phone. It's broken. Sad, I just made this. I don't know, I guess my biggest thing is, if you make videos every single week where you're making fun of somebody, you can't take a joke? Let me get this straight. You say I have a big nose, I'm ugly, I'm a hypocrite, I steal all my content, I'm all these horrible things. My voice is annoying. When I make a joke about your scandal and you hit me and break my... He shattered my screen and he broke my back camera, so honestly I'm still waiting for a Venmo. And I hate to be, joking, not even joking, honestly, I want him to pay for my fucking phone, but, he shouldn't get away with that. And I was just crying in the bathroom for a while, and I came out, and the people I talked to were like, yeah, he was really aggressive for no reason, what happened? And then they watched the Snapshots, they're like, that's the reason he shattered your phone? And let's say, because I don't have any photo evidence, just eyewitnesses of him grabbing me, holding me down, and hitting me, and twisting my arm, he still shattered my phone. Even if I was making up everything about him hitting me and twisting my arm, all of that, even if that was all a lie, even if he didn't touch me, he damaged my property because of what? He threw my phone enough to break the case. I'll show you when I get home. The back camera shattered. The pop sockets in my pocket, broken in half. The plastic shattered.
So all the articles that I've seen have focused on whether Ricegum assaulted Gabbie, And Gabbie says that Ricegum hit her. Ricegum said that, he didn't hit her and that she's lying. And everybody is focusing on whether she's lying or not. But here's the thing. I know for a fact that Ricegum did rob her. And if anybody knows Gabbie, please tell her to watch my video, or at the very least, tell her that what Ricegum did was robbery, and robbery is a much more serious crime than assault or battery, so long as the battery did not result in serious physical injury, and that Ricegum actually confessed to committing a robbery when he went on John Scarce and Drama Alert to be interviewed about the situation. Like I said before, a robbery is when somebody takes somebody's money or property using force or using the threat of force. In this case, Ricegum used actual force. In order for something to be a robbery, you simply have to have used enough force in order to overcome their resistance. In the case of a pickpocket who steals somebody's wallet, if the person didn't notice that their wallet is stolen, the pickpocket would be guilty of theft but not robbery. However, if the person does know that the pickpocket is trying to steal their wallet and has a small struggle with the pickpocket, but the pickpocket is able to take the wallet anyway, then the pickpocket is guilty of robbery. In the interview with Scarce, although Scarce does cut him off, Ricegum actually does explain how he had to force the phone out of Gabbie's hands, which means that she put up resistance, which means that the whole thing was a robbery.
And you guys can see her first snap too. I was like trying to play along because once again, it was so awkward. So then I was like, nah. So I did that, super awkward, tried to play along because I didn't know what to do. And then she posts that snap, I didn't really like it, and she takes out her phone again and snaps. And that second snap where I was just sitting like speechless because, like, think about it. I was at a party, I was not expecting people to record anything, I was posted, and she comes up to me, right? So then I asked her that, so while she's posting that second snap of just trashing me, like talking shit in my face on camera, and she says it's a joke. Like, how is that a joke? Like, she's doing it. But anyways, after she posted that, I was like, hey, can you not post that? Can you not do that? Like, I asked her really nicely. You can ask anyone at the party. I did not hit her. I am kind of in the wrong, though. Like, I'm not a fucking, like, she's making it seem like she's perfect, and I'm the, like, and I'm a bad guy, but I'm not perfect. She's not perfect. I did some things I didn't want to do and regret.
How did her phone get shattered then?
Okay, I was just about to talk about it. So she posts 2 snaps. I'm like, hey, can you not post that? What the fuck? And we're at a fucking, my friend's birthday party. Like, I'm here to hang out with him, and you're coming over here trying to start problems. What the hell? I say, don't post it like 3-4 times very, very nicely. And she pulls out her phone again, snapping again. So I'm like, 3 snaps in a row. I look like a bitch in the corner, not talking back, and she's over here cooking the shit out of me. I don't know what to do.
Would you say it's warranted, though, because you haven't made a video on her before?
I mean, bro, she knows all that shit about the phone shit. Right? So she's snapping me a 3rd time, bro, cooking the shit out of me. So I'm like, all right, I don't know how to stop this. I grab her phone. She kind of holds on tight, though, because, it's her phone. So I kind of had to use 2 hands to.
Did you say that's called assault, though?
Bro, she's fucking recording me when I'm not even doing shit. But no, so I take her phone, I grab it, throw it on the floor, and run away. Like, I just go home. I Ubered home. I smashed her phone. All the snaps, things stopped because that's what I wanted. I just didn't want her to, like record me. You guys can watch the video, bro. I look so tired on the couch. Like, I wasn't even prepared for that, bro. But anyways, I take her phone. I smash her phone, I go away.
Later on.
No, bro, I literally grabbed her phone out of hand. Like, so think of you holding a phone, right? Mm-hmm. Like, hard, I just snatched it. Because, bro, think about it. Yes, look, too. I PayPal'd her $2,000. No, sorry. I Venmo her $2,000 because I'm in the wrong. I probably shouldn't have smashed her phone.
So you paid for her phone, right?
Yes.
Later on, Scarce has a guest that says that Ricegum didn't hit her, but he did say that Ricegum forced the phone out of her hands and that there was a tug of war between Gabbie and Ricegum before Ricegum was able to take the phone from Gabbie. So that constitutes a robbery. Now, it doesn't really matter if he hit her or not from the perspective of did he commit a robbery. And like I said, a robbery is a much more serious crime than a simple assault or simple battery, which is all this would be if Ricegum actually did hit her or not. Robbery, on the other hand, is always considered a violent felony. There's no such thing as a misdemeanor robbery. There is a such thing as misdemeanor assault and misdemeanor battery, but no such thing as misdemeanor robbery. Only felony robbery. There's also first-degree robbery and second-degree robbery. As far as I can tell, this actually was a first-degree robbery, which is more serious, simply because a first-degree robbery is either a robbery of a commercial driver, a robbery that occurs near an ATM machine, or a robbery that occurs at a dwelling. Since this is a private property, you could say that this is a robbery that occurred at a dwelling. Now, I'm not sure if this is really first-degree robbery, but I do know that it's at the very least second-degree robbery, and second-degree robbery is already a very serious, violent felony. It is not armed robbery. There is not actually a difference between the crime of armed robbery and robbery, except that you can get a much stiffer sentence if you commit a robbery using a weapon. Nobody is claiming that Ricegum committed an armed robbery, but you can commit an unarmed robbery. Ricegum admits that he had to use 2 hands to force it out of her hands, and any amount of force that would be enough to overcome her resistance means that it was enough force to be considered a robbery. Also, eyewitnesses at the party claimed that there was a tug-of-war between Gabbie and Ricegum. If there was a tug-of-war and Ricegum was able to pull it out of her hands, that's all the force needed to make this a robbery. Based upon this Instagram picture, it looks like Gabbie has an iPhone 7 Plus, and an iPhone 7 Plus, if she's using the one with the most amount of storage, can cost $850. Now, you hear about people committing robberies by robbing a store for just $500. So, robbing someone of an $850 iPhone is more than enough to be considered a robbery. In fact, in order to be considered a robbery, it just has to be something of value. It doesn't even have to be a large amount of value. But something worth more than $800 is definitely a large amount of value. Now, I do realize that Ricegum says that he paid her $2,000, and that's nice of him, but that doesn't mean that he's not guilty of robbery. If that was the case, then every single time somebody robs a store for $500 and there's a big uproar about it, all the person would have to do is pay the store $1,000, and they wouldn't be guilty of robbery. That's not the case. Because otherwise, every time somebody steals something and they get caught, they could just pay the person back, and they wouldn't be facing charges. Well, that's not how it works. The fact is, Ricegum robbed her, and even though he paid her back, it's still a robbery. Also, robberies similar to this one are prosecuted all the time. You might be aware that Suge Knight right now is awaiting trial for murder. And indeed, murder is a more serious crime than robbery. But he and Katt Williams are also awaiting trial for robbery. They allegedly took the camera from a paparazzi in Beverly Hills who was photographing them when they did not want to be photographed. You can say that that's actually a very similar case to this one because Ricegum forcibly took the camera from Gabbie when he did not want to be recorded on Snapchat. And they're not saying that Suge Knight took the camera because he wanted to keep the camera. They're saying that Suge Knight robbed the reporter of the camera because Suge Knight did not want to be photographed. That is enough to be considered robbery. So, the only difference is, in Suge Knight's case, it was probably only a second-degree robbery because it occurred in a public place, whereas this might be first-degree robbery since it occurred at a private dwelling, although I'm not certain about that. Also, Ricegum posted on Twitter that he came across these kids at a mall one day who were photographing him using their phone, and he didn't like it, so he took it from them and he smashed their phone. So that means that Ricegum has a history of committing these types of robberies, and for some reason, Ricegum is too stupid to realize that this could be illegal because he keeps admitting to it. Now, here's the truth. Not everybody knows the actual legal definition of robbery, but Ricegum should be smart enough to know that it's not exactly legal to take somebody's expensive cell phone from them by force and break it, okay? That he should know is against the law, but he's not smart enough to realize that, and he's now confessed to committing 2 robberies, one against Gabbie and another against a fan, and that's just not a good thing. I do agree with Gabbie's analysis that Ricegum, if he's going to have a whole channel where he roasts people, should be able to take it. You know, he should be able to handle it when somebody roasts him a little bit. So when Gabbie said to him, you know, I guess your ghostwriter is not around because people have alleged that Ricegum uses a ghostwriter, and he goes off and commits a robbery, well, that's not right. You know, Ricegum shouldn't be a pussy. He should be able to handle a joke. And apparently he can't. And that doesn't give me any respect for Ricegum. And I just looked at Gabbie's channel again, and I'm still not a big fan of Gabbie. But I just cannot take Ricegum's side in this, because Ricegum has openly confessed to committing a robbery without even realizing it, because he's not smart enough to realize that maybe it's illegal and it's actually violent to forcibly take somebody's phone and break it. And apparently people like Keemstar, who are defending him, who also apparently have lawyers in their own family, are simply not smart enough to realize that this is a robbery. So I hope that somebody realizes this and tells Gabbie, because this would be a very easy case to prosecute, considering that Ricegum himself admits to committing a robbery. Please like and subscribe and hit the notifications button for more videos. I upload 4 videos a month, and together we shall take over the world.